Currently, Queensland's residential property market is massively undersupplied. This dwelling deficiency is the result of a combination of underbuilding throughout the GFC and rising demand stemming from both population growth and increases in housing affordability. Brisbane is forecast to grow faster than any other mature world city over the next 8 years. Growth in Brisbane's housing market is forecast to be particularly strong over the coming years. As at December quarter 2013, Brisbane ranked as the third most affordable apartment market in Australia. An analysis of market data across inner-city apartment markets within the nation's 3 major capital cities shows that inner-city Brisbane's residential market has now bottomed out and is entering the upturn phase. Enter Albion. Albion accommodates all 3 of the economics and research fundamentals that make a sustainable suburb: population, infrastructure and employment. To drill down further into Albion's status as a strong investment opportunity, we speak with Urbis Director Jonathan Rivera. Jonathan, what is it about Albion's location that is so significant to investors?
We think Albion's location is so significant to investors really based on a few fundamentals. Really its position in terms of the inner city precinct, really situated on the back door of one of Brisbane's wealth belts, but also for its fact in terms of where it's sandwiched from obviously the major employment node, which is the Brisbane CBD or inner city precinct, but also Hamilton and Hamilton Reach and that harbour precinct, which is going through tremendous structural uplift and growth right now.
What's in store for Albion in terms of urban renewal?
There's lots in store for Albion in terms of urban renewal. Albion was actually one of Brisbane City Council's first suburbs to receive a neighbourhood plan. That's a significant move in terms of what's going to be happening in Albion. It will benefit from $20 billion worth of infrastructure that the area will obviously promote through that plan, but also taking more of an aspect from its urban village perspective. And that's a significant move in terms of residential and its residents that obviously live in Albion.
Jonathan, talk us through the major infrastructure projects that will impact on the inner northern suburbs.
The inner north is actually surrounded by major infrastructure changes. It's going through almost like an infrastructure boom. What we're seeing there is obviously the experience in terms of major tunnel work, in terms of the airport link. That's actually one of the most significant pieces of infrastructure that we're going to see within the inner north. But further to that, it's probably looking at other major infrastructure projects that will then facilitate this future growth in Brisbane. One is obviously the Airport Corporation in terms of what's going to happen there through an employment node, but also through how we get to that location. Kingsford Smith Drive upgrade is going to be a major significant to ease traffic congestion as obviously the city grows and particularly that area grows in population.
Could you outline some of the driving factors behind employment growth in the area?
So obviously there's major infrastructure works like tunnels that obviously facilitate the employment network, but there's also going to be some more suburban or inner precinct areas which are probably going to drive Brisbane. And residential developments are really we think what's going to be driving Brisbane's future. As they bring retail, employment and obviously great new residential spaces to areas which I think are probably going through major urban renewal. So when we look at that, we've got Gasworks, which is going through some major master planning. We've got Hamilton and that Hamilton Reach and Harbour precinct, which is obviously going through major retail, residential and infrastructure development. These are precincts to me that will probably help generate other inner city suburbs throughout inner Brisbane.
Jonathan, what is the forecast for population growth in Albion?
Brisbane is going through a revolution in terms of this demographic shift. It's changing the way that we look at our accommodation, our precincts, our infrastructure, and how this will evolve us into the future is actually quite exciting. We're going to see a lot more change in terms of the fringe areas, particularly within the 5 and 10 kilometre precincts. And this will also change in terms of how we look at transportation, how we look at employment, and how we look at our residential accommodation, which in Brisbane is really set to be based on the back of apartment development.
Of course, the all-important consideration for investors is sale price growth and rental demand. What trends are we seeing here?
We believe some of the major residential demand drivers for Albion are definitely going to be its location. Its location in terms of its proximity to major employment nodes and amenity precincts such as the CBD, Fortitude Valley and the Hamilton Renewal precincts, walkability and access to major parks and recreation facilities, walkability and access to train and major transport networks, and not just including public transport, but also its access to major arterial roads and networks that can facilitate easy access to major employment networks such as CBD and Brisbane Airport Corporation. Its proximity and accessibility is probably what's key for Albion in terms of being able to get in and around Brisbane, particularly to its major employment nodes through its arterial roads and public transport networks.
Thanks, Jonathan. So, time is of the essence. Clearly, all of the indicators point toward Albion and Jade as an exceptional investment opportunity not to be missed. Visit jadealbion.com.au.